Lloyd Bernard Free, aka World Be Free, December 9th, 1953. Before Steph Curry was hitting logo threes or Allen Iverson was crossing defenders out their shoes, there was a 6'2" guard from Brooklyn with a name you couldn't forget and a game just as loud. World Be Free didn't just play basketball, he performed it. With a rainbow jumper that arced higher than most players' heads, a scoring appetite that saw him finish top 5 in the league multiple times, and a style so fearless it made him one of the most entertaining guards of the late 70s and early 80s, Free had everything a star needed. In 1979-80, while playing for the San Diego Clippers, he averaged 30.2 points per game, the kind of number that cements you in the NBA history books. Only a handful of players have done it, but unlike those names, World Be Free's legacy has been reduced to a trivia answer. His career rarely mentioned when the great scorers are discussed. Part of it was circumstance. He was drafted to the Philadelphia 76ers, where his early years were spent behind Julius Erving, and in the shadow of playoff runs he wasn't leading. When he did get his own team, it was often one that nobody was watching. San Diego, Golden State, Cleveland, markets that weren't commanding national attention in the pre-internet, pre-League Pass era. Free was flashy, but in an NBA still leaning conservative in style and presentation. His high socks, colorful headbands, and streetball swagger didn't fit the league's marketing image. He became a cult favorite in certain cities, but never the household name his numbers demanded. And when the Bird, Magic, Jordan era pulled the NBA into global superstardom, Free was on the back nine of his career, just outside the spotlight's reach. Today, even deep basketball fans might only know him for his name, a nickname earned on the playgrounds of Brownville for his basketball ability. But behind the name was a scorer so gifted that if he played in today's pace and space, three-point heavy league, he might have been a multi-time All-NBA guard and viral highlight machine. Instead, his career became one of the most overlooked in NBA history, proof that talent alone isn't enough to be remembered. World Be Free wasn't stunted because he couldn't play, he was stunted because the era, the stage, and the system didn't let his greatness live on. What happened? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. World Be Free was a 6'2" shooting guard from Brooklyn, New York, whose game was forged on the city's playgrounds. After starring at Canarsie High School, he played 2 seasons at Guilford College, where he became an NAIA All-American and led his team to a national championship in 1973. Known then as Lloyd Free, he earned his world nickname for his flashy, wide-open style of play and fearless scoring mentality. Drafted 23rd overall in 1975 by the Philadelphia 76ers, he began his career as a dynamic six-man behind Julius Erving. Free was averaging over 20 points per game, setting the stage for a decade as one of the NBA's most dangerous offensive guards. His quick release, deep range, and flair made him a fan favorite, but he'd spend most of his prime on teams far from the championship spotlight, a factor that hurt his long-term recognition. Stunt number 1, playing on bad or irrelevant teams. For all the excitement World Be Free brought to the floor, most of his prime years were spent in basketball obscurity. After 3 promising seasons in Philadelphia, he was traded to the San Diego Clippers in 1978, a franchise already known for dysfunction and losing seasons. While Free exploded statistically, averaging 28.8 points in 1978-79 and a career-high 30.2 in 79-80, those performances came in front of small crowds and with little national coverage. The Clippers failed to make the playoffs either year, and without postseason runs to cement his stardom, his numbers became impressive but forgettable to casual fans. When he later moved to Golden State and then Cleveland, the story didn't change much. His teams were competitive at times, but rarely considered true contenders. Playing in smaller markets without the modern media reach meant many of Free's best nights happened with minimal exposure. In an era before social media highlight packages or constant cable coverage, being great on a bad team often meant being invisible. Players on losing squads could score 50 and still not crack the evening sports segment if someone in Boston, Los Angeles, or Philadelphia had a big night. This lack of visibility hurt his brand more than his actual ability. Had he been on a contender, Free's name might have been attached to playoff moments, signature shots, or game winners that kept him in the highlight reels decades later. Instead, his prime existed mostly in box scores and the memories of the fans who were there in person. It's not that his teams didn't value him. In fact, he was often their top scorer and ticket draw. But team success drives legacy, and without it, even great players can fade into basketball's background noise. Stunt number 2, overshadowed in a golden age of guards. World B. Free entered the NBA during a time when the backcourt was stacked with future Hall of Famers and iconic personalities. His rookie year in 1975 put him in the same league as George Gervin, Pete Maravich, Earl Monroe, and Walt Frazier, all established stars with signature styles. Just a few seasons later, Magic Johnson arrived, redefining what guards could be. By the mid-80s, Michael Jordan was on the scene, dominating the narrative for the rest of the decade. Even elite players without championship rings like Alex English or Adrian Dantley had the advantage of being more closely tied to winning teams or playoff runs. Free's production should have put him in those conversations. Between 1978 and 84, he averaged over 22 points per game in 6 of the 7 seasons, peaking at 30.2. His high-arcing jumper, ability to score from deep before the three-point shot was common, and flair for tough baskets made him one of the league's most entertaining players to watch. But in an era with limited national broadcasts and the few television slots available going to bigger names and bigger markets, even his nickname, which should have made him one of the league's most marketable players, didn't break through nationally the way Dr. J, the Iceman, or Magic did. Part of it was market size. San Diego, Golden State, and Cleveland didn't carry the same cultural weight, but part of it was timing. The NBA's media machine favored players who not only excelled individually, but were tied to the league's growing rivalries and playoff drama. Free's lack of all-NBA first-team selections, despite his scoring prowess, showed how overshadowed he was in the awards conversation. The talent was undeniable, but the spotlight was already crowded. And in a league where attention fuels legacy, Free was often left on the outside looking in. Stunt number 3, retiring before the NBA's media explosion. World B. Free's career came just a few years too early to benefit from the NBA's transformation into a global entertainment product. By the late 80s, the league was riding a wave of unprecedented popularity, fueled by the Bird vs. Magic rivalry, Michael Jordan's ascension, and a surge of televised games that brought more players into living rooms across America. The NBA's marketing machine was producing commercials, merchandise, and highlight reels that would help define legacies for decades. By the time the boom truly hit, Free was nearing the end. His last elite statistical season came in 84-85 with Cleveland, when he averaged 23.4 points. After that, injuries and age took their toll and his role diminished. By 1988, he was out of the league. When the NBA was becoming a fixture on national TV, with ESPN and NBC pumping out memorable moments, Free was no longer part of the story. For players who stuck around in that era, even a few big games could lock them into NBA history through constant replays and media references. Free, despite having a style built for highlight packages, didn't have that luxury. His most electric performances existed in an era where they aired once, maybe twice, and then disappeared into the box score. The lack of modern archival footage also worked against him. While Jordan's and Magic's games are endlessly replayed, much of Free's prime isn't wildly available, making it harder for new generations to discover his greatness. In today's digital world, old clips could reignite interest in forgotten stars, but in the 80s, once you were gone, so was your presence in the public's mind. Timing can turn a good career legendary. In Free's case, it did the opposite. All in all, World B. Free's career was outstanding, seeing how far he came. He was an electrifying scorer with a signature style, a player who could pour in 30 points on any given night and make it look effortless. Yet he spent his best years on teams with little national relevance in markets where the spotlight was faint. Playing in an era overflowing with backcourt stars, he never received the same media attention or postseason stage to etch his name into basketball's collective memory. And just when the NBA was about to explode into a global spectacle, he was exiting the league, leaving behind highlights few outside his fan base ever saw. But for those who do remember, World Be Free was more than a colorful nickname. He was the reminder that some of the game's most dazzling talents get lost to time, not because they lack the skill, but because the moment to be remembered never fully arrived. Salute, much respect, but for these reasons, his growth was stunted. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.